Hello and welcome to Oche 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 with me, Dylan Williams, and my co-host tonight, Sian Price. Hi, Sian, you okay?
Hello, good, thank you. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And for tonight's episode, we're joined by Welsh number 3 and World number 74, Nick Kenny. How are you, Nick?
Hi, Dylan. Hi, Sian. Thanks for having me on. Very well, thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks for giving up your time. We really appreciate it.
Yes, definitely. I like the setup you've got there, Nick.
Yeah, I've spent a bit of money on a man cave, so it's really nice. It's insulated really well. It's like a sauna in here, so I might end up sweating by the end of this.
We've all got red cheeks then, don't worry about that.
Yeah.
That's the joys of Wales in the summer, finally.
It'll get you ready for the Winter Garden stage when you qualify for the match play one day, maybe.
All to do next week, all to do.
So if we start then, Nick, obviously in Wales, we're very familiar with sort of Gerwyn and Johnny and their backstories, you know, how they used to play rugby and have turned into world-class star players. But, you know, I'm not really familiar with your sort of backstory. How was darts introduced to you? Where were you? Where did you start with darts, basically?
My parents, really. They run a local league in Cumbraen, and they watched it on the TV. And obviously back in the late 90s, early 2000s, Richie Burnett was hot Welsh topic, really. To follow him in the PDC. And I just got hooked on it. They'd have all these tape, sometimes they'd have tape recordings of darts, and I just got hooked. I know a few times we snuck up early, me and my brother, and we sort of destroyed my dad's darts by just getting on a chair. I was only really young and throwing at the dining room board he had up. But I always remember my grandma bought me like a sticky dartboard, like with the Velcro, and I just got hooked on different games in my head. And my dad bought me a real one when I was 9 and managed to hit my first 180 when I was 9. And I was playing down the pub at 12 against a couple of the county regulars and holding my own, and started in the league when I was 13. And from there, I just sort of tried to build a little ladder every time, step by step, trying to build up different experiences and levels. And I managed to do it. And, I'm at the top level now, but obviously there's different steps within the PDC that I'm sort of trying to aim myself. So, 14, I started, my first ever tournament was when I was 13, and a couple from Cumbraen took me down to Green Sands for the England youth. And I actually beat Ross Smith, who was 17 at the time, one of the best youth players in Britain, in the quarterfinals, and lost to Cameron Menzies. So I knew I had it in me, and compared to the experience I've got now, and how good I am now in terms of then, so just a ladder, really, a ladder of experience to build my way up.
So was there one sort of game or something that sort of twigged, and you think, I could probably make a career out of this? Or are you still sort of learning, I suppose, on the job as well?
I suppose it was making a career out of it. I suppose it was obviously when I won the Europe Cup Youth when I was 17 in Germany, I knew there was a lot of talent, and a lot of obviously we look at the tournament I've won there, the players that are on the tour now. You've got Dimitri, you've got Josh Payne, you've got the Swan, you've got players who don't play anymore who are absolutely fantastic players. Like Jake Jones has been off the scene. I know he had a few children. He's back on. He was at that tournament.
Yeah.
There's so many youngsters, and I won the tournament. And Dean Reynolds in Wales, for example. I know he's not been playing recently, but so many good players. And I was probably one of the best youth players in the world when I was about 17. And I thought, kick on, have a go at the PDC Youth Tour. And when I won a couple of those, I thought, the standard I'm playing now, some of the players I'm beating, I could do well. And 2014 was the year, I think. I think I made a good run in the World Masters. I managed to get on TV, and I picked up a sponsor then to sort of do the video tour. But I was always 2014. I was my first cap for Wales, and I always wanted to sort of build a ladder for Wales, get to the Six Nations team, and then the Europe Cup, and then obviously finally the World Cup before having a go at the PDC. But I always had the youth tour to have a go at until I was 20, 23, 24.
One question I was going to ask you as well about your action. It's quite a unique action, the flick. Sort of, is that something you did the first time you picked up a set of darts, then, or is it something that's evolved?
No. As a kid, I used to practice all the different players' throws. I think one of the first ones I started out was Roland Shelton throwing. It was very direct. And then Colin Lloyd was the one that I finished on, like leaning right over. I was very skinny then, leaning right over. And just direct, how he was. But all of a sudden I started going dink, 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 and all of a sudden it was out here. It was all the way over there, like, and that's how it started. And then I always remember it got a bit slow and I used to stop. But I remember Darryl Fitton saying, "You need a rhythm," because I was really struggling at the time. You need to get something to a rhythm, and that's how it goes. It's just like loosen your arm up and get ready to really follow through and feel right. And it's worked wonders for me, really. So
yeah.
When I was a kid, I used to practice all the throws, and Colin Lloyd was the one I started on, to be fair, and it just escalated, and it does naturally. No, you look at some of the people that play now, many throws, they don't really change. They change, drastically down the years.
With a quick.
You talked about the Dylan.
No, you carry on, John. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, you talked about the BDO, and obviously we're competing in BDO for a while, but you've got really good memories of competing in that, haven't you?
Yeah, I love the BDO. To be fair, obviously it's everyone's stepping stone, bar one or two. I got the World Masters last 16. Probably should have got the last 8 and beyond, but I kicked on from there, and I won a few tournaments in 2016 and managed to get a Lakeside where I lost to Glenn Durant, and that was the start of his three-year championship, 3 years of winning it. But I got back there and then the O2, and yeah, 2019 was the year in the BDO WDF, the last one as it goes, where I really kicked on and got the top 6 in the world, and I ended WDF #1 that year. So it was really good. I started playing really, really good darts, and it was quite recognised as probably one of the best in the BDO, probably the best in the BDO from August onwards. If not being too big-headed, I think I was the best player up until I broke my foot at the World Cup. To be fair.
What do you think? Yeah, made that 2019 so good for you and successful for you? Was it a lot of practice, a lot of match play? Is there anything in particular, or do you just think you found your groove and everything sort of slotted into place?
It was a bit of everything, really. Personal issues I had in 2018, and then I was sort of carefree then in 2019, and I just let everything go. And obviously, having 2018, I joined the Big Five. Paul gave me the chance, and we kicked on then from the middle of June in 2018. Was it? I think I won Switzerland, and then I climbed the rankings. And I failed to get the Lakeside for 2019. I was there 2017 and 18. I failed to get there in 19, not by much, but it was a disastrous year. And then I was doing okay at different events. So I did all right at the Dutch Open. I had a quarterfinal and Scottish Open quarterfinal. But from August onwards, I won a big local competition up in Mountain Ash or Aberdeen. And there was a lot of good players up there. And from there, I went over to Belgium, and Wayne won the Saturday. I won the Sunday. He won Antwerp, I won Belgium, and then I went over to France and won that. And then I got told if you do better than Clearmaker in Bruges, you'll end up getting in the Grand Slam, and I won that. And then I got told I wasn't in the Grand Slam, so it was a bit of a kick in the teeth. But then I went to the World Cup, and I had a bit of a niggle in my foot. And I think if I hadn't had a basically broken foot for the week, then I think we would have had 3 golds as a team in Wales, because I was so confident against Machin, and I just cried my eyes out, really, because I was just in so much pain. I really thought about giving up, and by the end of the week, the foot had popped and it was broke, but it was excruciating pain. But yeah, it was just amazing. A bit of a carefree, nothing to worry about, so to speak. Good management team, a bit of confidence when I started winning a couple of events and kicking on, and just belief, really. I know that when I'm playing my best, I can beat anyone. I think I've sort of proven that a little bit as well.
So, heading into the Worlds then in 2020 and in the O2 and Indigo, were you heading there thinking, Nick, I've got a really good chance of lifting the title here? Yeah.
To be fair, I thought I'm going to play Jim in the semis and Wayne in the final. I was that confident.
Yeah.
But in the back of my mind, I was in a cast from the World Cup for 3 or 4 weeks, and then I had a big moon boot on up until the 27th of December. And I was actually thinking about going to the Worlds in a boot, even though I didn't need it anymore, because I've been playing in a boot. I went to Italy and got 2 semi-finals in this moon boot, limping around. And I remember the day I had the boot off, it's a bit different because I lost in the final on Boxing Day in the boot, went down to the Gwent and I had the boot off. And then it was a bit different because the boot you were a little bit higher in the boot, and I was a bit paranoid about putting on my weight on the hockey because I'm still quite a big fella then. And maybe it was just a bit of a sort of unconscious, in the back of your mind thinking, worrying about my foot in the Worlds. But to be fair, I didn't get robbed, but his finishing in the Worlds was amazing, Daniel Carter. But I missed a few doubles and he was taking out everything. But it's one of them games, fair play. And just, if I'd have done well in the Worlds, maybe I wouldn't have done well at Q School. So that's why I always say, don't regret anything. It happened. Okay, I didn't get past the first round of a BDO World Championship, but managed to get into PDC and win a game in that World Championship. So it's all good. And
especially, everything that came after, the World Championships in the Indigo, maybe it was a blessing, maybe, Nick?
Definitely, yeah, 100%. No, I wanted Wayne to come up with me to Q School, and his head was gone with having emails and all that last minute, but I just went up there. I had a bad first 3 days, and I just knew the way I played in the BDO. Just have that one good day where you play your socks off, and I just did everything, and I'm so grateful for just having that ability to do that on that day because I've been crap for the first 3 days.
Looking back to the Worlds as well, as a participant, were you aware of all the sort of wranglings in the background, going up on stage?
Yeah, we knew that the prize money was going to be reduced, okay, but we didn't think it was going to be as low as it was. We thought it was going to be 50 grand for the winner, and there was rumours with officials flying about. There was arguments going on. I know there was an argument between somebody and Des at the day of the final, like in the room next to him before he was walking on the stage. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
It was just crap. It was a nice venue, to be fair, but nothing on the lakeside. But it just...
Yeah,
we didn't really have a good relationship, especially after he promised me the Grand Slam and then they took it away from me. And the World Masters, I wasn't there, but the redraw and making up a bunch of lies. But I'm glad we're away from that now. I'm glad it's in good hands in the WDF, to be fair.
And you're obviously good friends with Wayne, and we've seen in the last 2-3 weeks now, how much love there is for the guy. People have put their hands in their pockets, and the GoFundMe has managed to raise enough money to get a replica, which is fully deserved, I would have said.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's another factor, going back to your question, Sian. 2019, if you spend company with Wayne Warren, you're always laughing. He's the happiest man in the world at darts, but then he could be the angriest man on the dartboard. So he's like the happiest man in the world. Everyone loves him. And on the dartboard, he's like really fierce and mean, and he never smiles. But that's just the way he plays. But yeah, he was great, being him had such a laugh in 2019. That's a bit gutted he didn't come, but obviously it's an individual sport at the end of the day. I was there for the week for him for the O2 and watched him lift it, and it was a great moment. But hopefully he comes across now. I know age isn't on his side. He didn't do too well at Q School, but he's not one to practice online, and he hasn't had that chance to be in the pubs. And maybe if he'd practiced a bit more, he might have got him. He's a bit unlucky as well, but I'm glad he's got that trophy now, and I hope he can get some exhibitions from it and really showcase it and be remembered as a world champion proper, instead of him and Peter Wright they had the bad rub of the green in 2020, didn't they? So fingers crossed they get some exhibitions now from him.
Your first year on PDC was not helped with COVID at all, but you played on the home tour and obviously ended really well, playing at Ali Pali. So how can you sum up sort of your first year on the PDC?
Yeah, it started off quite well. First, to be fair, halfway through the year, I got these new darts, and it was like, that's the third set of darts I've ever had. So it was a bit of a leap, but they were a copy set really. And mine were a bit of Welsh flavour and a few logos and different things. But up until the pandemic, there's certain moments you think, well, that stands out. It could have kicked on and been a bit better. I was really playing well. I was enjoying it. I had some good results. The last 16, my first event. I played a lot of the top players as well. So I had experience against like Peter Wright, Bob Cross a couple of times. And I lost the game against Rotowski in February, and it was an amazing game. I think he had 100 average, he had 105, and I had 3 darts at tops to beat him, and he won it. He went on and won it. So I was like, could have opened up for me there, because I'd beaten Johnny Clayton, and you know how good he is on the floor. I'd beaten him in the second or third game, and I was really, you know, scoring and finishing well and holding my throw in you know, 15 darts or less every time. So I always remember that kicked me back a bit, and I struggled a bit because there was a what if moment, and then COVID hit, and obviously we didn't play for a while, and I went to that summer series, didn't win a game. But it was a summer series in Milton Keynes, didn't win a game. Just got a bit upset about it as well. I was a bit like, oh, what's happening here? But we'd had the home tour before that, and I played quite well on the home tour.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was a bit of the, you know, getting used to. I lost a lot of weight last year, getting used to the new weight, the new darts. Did I have the new darts? No, the new darts was in Germany actually. So it was actually my old darts in Milton Keynes. So I just don't know what it was. It was quite hard to be locked in a hotel for a week, to be fair, with no fresh air, and you know, we're quite outgoing people. You know, we'll go out and give a snooker or a meal or you know, a pint after darts. I'm not one to stay in a hotel room. I want to be doing things, so to speak. So it's quite difficult. But then I think it was like the 8th tournament in a row it was the 7th day in Germany. It was the second tournament that we had to qualify on the first day in Germany. And I drew Devon. I was like, oh, here we are, another crap draw. I beat Devon, and I went on some rampage of beating all superstars, so to speak. I beat Whitlock and Wade and Lisa, then Ross Smith. And to be fair, I had Van Gerwen, you know, beat in some respect. I should have been 4-0 up. A few doubles, and I'd been 4-0 up, and I was confident that probably could have gone on and won the whole thing. And then if I'd have won that game, I wouldn't have to worry about qualifying, which was my saviour for the whole year, to be honest, Sian and Dylan. Qualifying in the last chance was amazing, to be honest, and obviously I'm quite confident in the one-off games on stage, and managed to beat Dirk, and just a few doubles here there and a few iffy scores. Could have been a bit different against Jamaica.
There's a question come up about you know, the switch from the BDO to the PDC. You know, as an individual, what's going through your head when you're thinking, you know, the switch obviously is what needs to be done, but what goes through your head sort of psychologically about playing a higher standard of player, I suppose, isn't it?
Obviously, first thing was getting in there. You know, it was never ever a guarantee to get into the PDC. But if I hadn't got in, I'd have been, you know, WDF #1. I managed to win Romania, so I'd probably get points for that. We booked Romania, and we went over anyway. You know, I got a tour card because we'd already booked it, and he was allowed to go. But you've got to accept losing. You're never going to win everything. And like local people, they are, you know, if you lose a local game in your local town, it's like, oh, Nick Kenny lost tonight, and then everyone knows, and everyone's talking about it. And like, I lose all the time. I lose more than anybody in that pub because I'm on the main tours. You know, not winning all these championships. You know, winning a handful a year. You just gotta face fact. You got to believe you're going to win, but you just got to accept that every day is not going to be your day. You're going to get better, even though you might be losing regular. So. Because the standard is you're in the elite, you've got the golden ticket. You know, like last series, Super Series, the 2 games I lost with tidy averages, the boys were like 100 average. Brendan Dolan and Luke Humphreys. I've had a 96 and a 95. So in my head, I've just got to sharpen up against the players that probably in the back of my mind I'm expecting to beat. You know, that's the next thing to overcome myself is, you know, treat the players that you think you're going to beat as someone you're not going to beat. That's something in my head that I've really got to focus on. And I know they're all brilliant players, but against the really good players, you know you can't afford nothing. And maybe in the back of your head, you're just thinking about something. You know, you might have an extra dart over there and you're not, and it just throws you off when you think you're going to win.
Yeah.
But you've got to just believe in yourself, and that's what I did on that final day at the Q School. And you like someone's like you're a little bit of a different person at darts. You've just got to have that borderline confident, arrogant personality which shows in a lot of players that that's not really them away from, you know, the cameras, the board. You've just got to be switched on and just believe you're going to win, and nobody's your friend on the hockey. Like, just got to believe in yourself.
Do you take sort of inspiration sort of what Johnny Clayton's done this year? Because obviously, we know he's had talent. You know, it's not like a new thing, but you know, he's saying that a lot of his success now is down to belief in his own abilities and having that confidence that, like, as you're saying, like, I can actually beat all these players. Like, you know, that's the sort of switch he's felt inside of him, that he just feels that he can approach everything with, you know, with that confidence. So, you know, do you look at his successes and think, well, yeah, I'm going to take that attitude as well and see how far that gets me? Because it sounds like, you know, you're there, you're feeling that as well. So, yeah, I just wondered if you think about his sort of successes in a way.
Yeah, it was there before Johnny started doing that, but it's just another example of, look, Dimitri, for example. You know, he started, you know, he was struggling on the floor, and he gets to a couple of the big competitions, having deep runs. 3 or 4 years ago, Nathan Aspinall was at Q School, and these are players. I never actually played Nathan in the PDC youth, but a lot of them top players now. I was beating in the youth, and I've beaten them. And if I can beat James Wade and Devin Peterson a couple of times, I can beat any of them because they're top players. So just got to believe in yourself, and just, you've got to get on that run of form as well. A bit of luck as well. You've always got to have a little bit of luck. But yeah, you know, for example, you know, Alan Super in our team, you know, he's flying. His draws in the first Super Series, for someone not so confident, they could have really, you know, broken them. You know, playing Peter Wright, Adrian Lewis in the first week. You know, he's beaten them. He's kicked on. He's had really good runs, and he's in the top 20, I think, on the floor this year. So, and he's a newbie in the PDC. So it's all about confidence and just not having really, you're not scared of them big boys. You know, nobody's scared of anyone anymore. You know, you hear of all the players being a bit petrified of Taylor. He'd already won the event before they turned up. You know, Van Gogh had a bit of that aura about him, but you know, nobody's afraid to play him. You know, Louis beat him in the first weekend. You know, I know he's been struggling a little bit, Van Gogh, but you know, everyone's beatable at the end of the day, and that's what we've got to think. You know, it's all on the day. It really is all on the day with darts. Anything can happen.
And I think you showed that. And you know that when you won your card, am I right in saying the match against Scott Taylor is your best recorded average? So
yeah, in terms of,
you can do it when it really counts.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was the biggest game of my life, and I've gone an average 110. So yeah, that gives me motivation as well, knowing that I can turn it on when it matters, and the game is there in the locker.
Yeah.
But the whole day, the game against Jim, for example, the 105, I think it was, to his 102. So it wasn't as if I was, you know, battering Jim. He was there with me for the match. It was back and forth, so I can live with a player averaging 102, you know, 34, 35 when I'm doing the same. So that, you know, it's different things. And there's a few players that, you know, they don't think, and that's why they're so good. You know, they're a bit like carefree.
Yeah.
But I do think about things a bit, you know, and I'm like, I know I've got it, just needed to execute it really. So
yeah, and I suppose the situation, like you touched earlier, you know, you lose, you go back to your hotel room, you look at those four walls, and your mind's playing funny buggers with you, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, you don't really know what to do with yourself. You know, I've taken the PS4 a couple of times, but generally, you know, I'm quite sociable. But when it first started in Barnsley, I'd always be over the snooker club and having a game of snooker with Chizzy and Paul. There's a dartboard in there. Just, you know, there's a nice Indian down the road. We go after darts. Just getting out and doing something, and seeing different faces, so to speak, instead of sitting at the same four walls. But I'm glad that's sort of over now. It's a little bit different this time, man. We've got sort of a bar to go to, have a bit of food, mingle with different players. So looking forward to that.
And you touched on it earlier, Nick, about qualifying for the Worlds. You know, did it make it extra special then, again, doing it when it really counted, but also doing it with Jamie Lewis as well?
Yeah. We I went over to Kylie and I said, "Oh, do you mind, you know, you going through Newport?" And I said, "Oh, can I have a lift?" And then I said, "Oh, I'll chuck you some petrol money." And he was blasting music all the way back. We had a good laugh with a couple of drinks like in the car on the way back. Kylie was driving. Yeah, I played youth with Jamie when I was 16 in Holland, and I followed him around the BDO, and I used to go before I was on the tour, and he was really unlucky before he made it. I was there when someone offered him a sponsorship. We went to Crawley for a World Championships, and someone, I think it was Tommy Cox's son or something, he wanted to sponsor him to go on the PDC, and away he went. That was it. His dad's well behind him, he followed him everywhere. So they're a lovely family, and because he'd been struggling, with mental health as well, it was just an extra special thing. I was really pleased, and he actually played really well that day. And look at that last set in the World Championships. It was really tough for him. Bit gutted, well, he was closest game with Gezi, but obviously Gezi was too strong for him. But yeah, he's a class boy, and I go a couple of years without seeing him sometimes, and it's just like we've never been away from each other because we used to always spend time with each other on the tour, have a few drinks, a game of poker, and different things. So all good.
Too good to stay off the tour, Nick?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Wales is mad, but Jamie, and on form, what he did at the World Championships. Only Gezi's been better in the World Championships. It's a good stat. I always remember who was the last person that Phil Taylor ever beat, and then Jamie Lewis. But Jamie had him really. I remember the game. It could have been 2-0 up in that game. But, what a run to get the semis. He's always had it in him. Then when I was, similar to myself, I think I could end up doing something like that. Crap on the floor, but he's going to be back. He's definitely going to be back as long as he wants it. He'll definitely be back. He's just class.
And you touched on it before. You did mention your win in the World Championship, but because you'd gone from the BDO of not winning past the first round, and then actually you got to PDC and you won in the first round. You got that sort of duck off your back in a sense, didn't you? You're like, okay, I've done it. I've got the win. Like that must have been, fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and there was a lot more pressure on that. Playing for that levels of money I'd never played for before, and I started off like a bit slow, and I think you look at it, I won 3 sets to 2, I won 15 legs to 6. I've got a thing on the wall of all the scores if I was just looking at it there. But 15 legs, I think it was 15 legs to, it was 15-6. I won the 3 sets, 13-6 it was. I won 3 sets 3-0, and he won his 3-2, 3-2. But yeah, I'd love a crowd to be in there, but I wouldn't know how I'd react to that crowd. So I'm just grateful I won a game at the Worlds, and surreal. It's massive, really, really huge, massive stage, and just it's a bit gutted with the second match, but it's all good. It's all good. I just want to get back there with a crowd.
Yeah.
Well, that leads into one of the questions as well, actually, which I'm sure that will probably be part of it. But we did ask, listeners to send in questions. So one of them, which is a great question, which I would have asked as well, from Wim Darts on Twitter. He said, "What are your goals for 2021 in PDC darts?"
Retain my tour card. That is the ultimate. And I know that I'm going to have to qualify for Ali Pali, unless I do really well in like a qualifier for the Grand Slam and have a good run. If I do well in the 4 comps, I'm going to be at Ali Pali anyway. So, get to Ali Pali and retain my tour card ultimately. Yeah, definitely. I don't think I'm thinking about it too much, but that is, that's the end goal. I think I'm 74th now. It's quite tight, 65 to 74. We get the Worlds, win a game, Grand Slam, for example, have a couple of really good runs on the floor, qualify for the Players' Championship. The Euro Tours, they've announced there's going to be 3 qualifiers in Coventry in the Series 5, is it?
Yeah.
So, you qualify for that, you're on 1,000 and you win, it goes up. The money's quite good on the European Tours. So, just if I start playing, a bit more consistent, taking my chances, and I think I'm quite confident I can retain my tour card, but I'd love to be back at the Ali Pali, and ultimately I want to be on the PDC next year.
And you work full time, don't you, as well? This starts as something you do in your spare time and in the evenings and weekends and things like that. You've got no plans to sort of go part time and to spend a bit more time on the dart?
No, not at the moment. To be fair, my job it's quite a nice wage. I'm quite comfortable, and when the pubs start opening again, the leagues start playing again, I can get back into that routine. I've got a man cave now, which I can just come out. I'm working from home at the moment, so I'll just come down in the nights and have a throw. I can have my mates over to have a good practice, and we've got a couple of mates who are really good players as well. So, no, not at the moment. I did think about it when I first qualified. I was thinking about a career break in the civil service and talked about it, and then the pandemic hit. So I'm glad I didn't, because I'd have been, doomed a bit. I'd probably gone back straight away because there's no darts for a while. But no, to be fair, I'm doing okay. If I start, getting into top 64 regularly, then if I was in the top 32, I'd consider it, I think. Because top 32, look at a long-term career break. But I quite like my job at the moment, so I'm not thinking about it just yet.
That touches on another question, actually, we had from Hungry Coyote on Twitter, where he says, during lockdown, has your practice routine changed in any way? Or are you practicing more?
In terms of lockdown, I didn't have a board in the house before March last year, because I was always out in the pubs. I was playing on a Monday night, on a Wednesday night, just going away on the Friday, and then back on a Monday and a Wednesday. Then I'd probably have a Tuesday and a Thursday off. So I was playing quite a lot, and it was match practice as well. So match practice is the best practice. So in terms of practicing, in the house, I'll have my mate down on a Friday. I might go down the club, and there's a bit of winner stays on. It's quite, handy competition to sort of, you're always against the darts, trying to stay on as long as you can. Play different games. There's a couple of online comps. I haven't bothered that much, but it's all about getting loose and getting your arm in and ready. So my practice is going to ramp up this week now, starting tonight after we finish, until Friday night. And Wales are playing Saturday, so I'll probably have a day off and travelling Sunday then. So ready for Monday.
Andrew Devonshire on Twitter said, do you feel like the time is now that you should be pushing on with your PDC career and start reaping the rewards from your obvious talent? In PDC darts, he says, if you stand still, it seems like you fall backwards. So I guess you have touched on that as well, but obviously you've got your focus now with regaining the tour card. And
I don't think anything's broken though. That's the thing. Like, I'm averaging 90 for the season. Got the talent to be higher than that, obviously, and everyone knows that. But it's not disastrous at the moment. It's not like I've not won a game this year, and it's like, oh, what's happening? It's all about me, really, my preparation, and like I said earlier, I know where I'm going wrong. I'm one or two, legs or darts off being, a lot more comfortable this year so far. I'd be in a healthy position if I'd have beaten a few different players, so I've still got a lot of time. He's right, if you stand still, but I didn't qualify for the World Championships, you'd be looking at me thinking about next year Q School, because it'd be very hard to sort of have a massive run at this time, so to speak. But I'm in a healthy position to retain my tour card. That was the ultimate goal at the start, and it still is. So if I can retain my tour card, I'm going to become more confident. I'm going to be more, used to the tour, more used to playing these different players. So I can see what he's saying, but I don't think anything's broken. It's still getting I'm still sort of puppy in the PDC, and I'm still, I'm still learning the trade, so to speak.
And we've got a few questions left, and it seems they're all sort of musical themed, Nick. So the first one's a fellow pro player and Big Five stablemate, Alan Soutar. Does Transnation get you in the right frame of mind for a pro tour?
Yes, well, there's a story behind that. Basically, we go and have a throw in Alan's room just before we go down to the venue, and he likes all that sort of stuff, and I like it as well. But when Paul has his say on the music, it's always stereophonic, so to speak. So it's got a bit of clubland, a bit of trance. It's quality, but he's a bit more extreme than me, Alan. But it is good music, yeah.
And then we got another one from Josh Field on Facebook. What's your go-to song for a karaoke song?
There's a few different ones I like to do, and I sort of pick them up. But Angels by Robbie. If I'm not feeling that I'm too good, then I can sing that one really, without really trying. When I've had too many beers, that one still could go well. I did do a bit of Tom Jones' "Fall in Love" at one point. Come Undone by Robbie Williams, and I might try the Piano Man next time we're allowed, because we might have seen it, but we Adam Hunt, who played the piano really well, he played that and I was singing along to it, and someone had it on video at the Summer Series last year, but got taken down from social media.
There's another question on the musical theme, and I guess there must be a bit of a story behind this. So from our friends at Weekly Darkcast, they said, after turning down Dave Paletti's request last time, would you sing Three Lions on karaoke if England win the Euros this summer?
To be fair, the Three Lions is a catchy tune. I had a teacher in school who was a massive West Ham fan. He was English music teacher, and he'd make us sing that. And at the time, he didn't realise how bad that is. Looking at we're Welsh, we should be following the Welsh. So we was at the Scottish Open in 2019, and we'd gone down at a bar for a few drinks on a Friday because the triples wasn't worth entering. There was karaoke on, and we were having a drink. Me and Dita and Paul and a couple of others. Wayne, I think it was my manager Paul's birthday, and Nick Kenny to karaoke. And bear in mind, we're in Scotland, so think about that. You know, it's bad enough in Wales. With Scotland, I thought, oh my god, I'm gonna get murdered by you. Nick Kenny, and I was like, what's he put me up here now? And Dave's laughing his head off. Three Lions. I was like, nope. And he got it on video, everything. I was like, no, not doing it. Definitely not. I was not doing that in Scotland. I wouldn't do it anytime, to be fair. But it is a catchy tune. Obviously, I know it from that guy in school making us sing it, but yeah, it's just, no, he's a wind-up dad. I know he's quite pally with Weekly Darkcast, Lal Moss, so he's really much a wind-up Dave.
Well, England aren't going to win the Euros, so I don't think you have to worry about that too much. We'll have to get some people to sing My Hen Lad for Nada instead when Wales win.
Definitely.
And we've got another question from Colossal Crib OP on Twitter, who says, can you name a person you thought who might have been a top PDC player from the BDO days if he, she, they were still playing?
The obvious ones are Darryl and Tony. Darryl Fitton and Tony O'Shea. They never took the leap, and they had, they're still about, but they're coming to the end now of the BDO days. But I think that Tony and Darryl would have held their own and been, they've had good runs in the Grand Slam. In terms of Wales, Martin Phillips 10, 15 years ago, I think he'd have held his own and done really well. And I'm still hopeful that Dean Reynolds is going to come back and turn it on. What a player, especially from his development tour days and wins.
Brilliant, cheers. Nick.
Oh, I was going to ask a question. So, yeah, Nick, you said that you've. I know last time I spoke to you for the World Championships, you said how much you've focused on keeping healthy and doing exercise and running and cycling and all that. So I just wondered, are you still keeping it up now? Are you enjoying it still? Do you think it's had a positive impact on your diets even more now? It's been quite a while that you've been sort of doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely had a positive impact. I've let myself go a bit, so I'll be brutally honest. I got down from about 20 stone down to 16, and I'm hovering around 17 to 17 and a half now. But I've done 4 massive workouts in the last 24 hours, so I'm a bit knackered today. With 5-a-side earlier on, and we've got a mountain behind us, so I've climbed the mountain twice on my lunch break the last couple of days. I'm doing a bit of a diet as well, but hopefully get back down to in the 16s at least, and potentially carry it forward to get down to 15s. But massive impact. I don't feel tired and sweating all the time at different things, and just being, and feel better about myself because I think I look a lot better as well. So it's very good, Sian. It's all good.
Do you find it helps you on those long days on the Pro Tour, Nick? Do you feel fresher?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, feel more comfortable with myself. I've gone through a stage of having bad feet, and and I'm just carrying a lot of weight and just feeling a bit tired and eating the wrong things. So yeah, it's definitely helped. And look at the shape that some of the dart players are in, like Gezi and Joe Cullen, for example. They're all they look after themselves. Big Devon, Josh Payne is he's the one. He's always in the gym. But they're all really look after themselves, and that's what you've got to do now. Obviously, it's long days, it's an elite sport, and you've got to prepare properly.
One thing I was going to ask as well, are you any nearer to finding a nickname?
Still haven't. Someone mentioned Nick the Kid, because I'm 28, but I still get ID'd for a scratch card, or packing of fags to my mum or dad, or alcohol. Always, I still get ID now and again. So Nick the Kid Kenny popped up, or Babyface Assassin, but I'm not a Man United fan. So you can put it out for me if you want. See what people say. If it suits, then it'll go, but I haven't got one at the moment. Okay. I'd have had the Prince of Wales, and I didn't realise Richie was up for losing it. So they wanted me to have the Fresh Prince of Cumbrae, the walk-on music. I wasn't having that.
I should have got in there, and Louis beat you to it.
Yeah, he did. I didn't think he was going to relinquish it, so I was like, I'm not bothering. Because I thought about it. I thought, maybe, but I was like, no, I can't nick that off him. And then he gave it up. What's happening? Never mind.
I like Nick the Kid, I have to say. I think that's got a good ring to it.
That's great.
Possibly.
No, but
it wasn't another one like King Kenny as well. Wasn't that another one you were thinking about?
Too many Kings. Mervyn King, Corey Cappy. There was King Kenny. I'm not Liverpool and Chelsea, so I couldn't have Babyface Assassin because of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I couldn't have King Kenny. I don't know if Kevin Kenny had a nickname back in the day, did he? I'm not sure. I don't know what his was, but when it suits, then I'm going to say I'm going with it, and you can brand yourself off it maybe. But Kid Kenny, you could have a sort of picture of a kid on the shirt, but I'm not too sure I'm going to stay young and babyface forever. So I'm 28, probably got another 6 years maybe.
Okay, all you can, whilst you can.
Exactly, yeah.
You mentioned that you're a Chelsea fan. Obviously, happy with the new manager. Happy with the season just gone.
Buzzing, yeah. Especially we were top in December, and we had such a bad run, and Lampard got sacked, which was gutted about because he's a Chelsea legend, but. Tuchel come in, and we were defensively much better, and just waiting for Werner to start scoring goals. And next season, I think we can win the Premier League. And there's rumours about Haaland, which I'm really excited about. But I just had a feeling we'd win the Champions League because we'd done City twice on the trot, and we managed to do it. It was a great night, second best night of my life behind the 2012 final, which we happened to be in the Welsh Open for. It was in May. What a weekend that was.
Talking about football, looking ahead to the Euros, how do you feel Wales could get on?
I think they get out the group. I think they can get out the groups. They need to take their chances. That's what they all look towards Gareth Bale, don't we? So we've got Ramsey, Joe Allen, but a few other good ones. But I think last time we probably just expect them to get out the group, and they got all the way to the semi-final. So. I think, it's a big game against Switzerland. It's Switzerland on Saturday, isn't it? I know Italy are playing on Friday night. I think Italy will win the group, and the other three teams are playing for second place. But, with football, it's just so unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. So,
exactly.
Hopefully, I can't, no chance. I don't think we're going to win it. Got to be honest. And get out the group and see who we draw, and take it from there, and see if they can start playing nice football again. See what happens. But realistically, I'd love to see them win it. It would be awesome, wouldn't it? But get out the group would be a success, I think.
Yeah.
How much are you looking forward to the Super Series then on Monday?
Yeah, I'm gonna have good practice now tonight and Thursday and Friday. Looking forward to getting back on it and a bit of normality again, because the restrictions are lifting again. We're able to sort of do different things, but not just go back to the room and look at the four walls. So it's a bit better. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. Hopefully, I turn up and play some decent darts, and as long as I play to a good standard, win or lose this first day, I know that I've got it in there, and I'll be confident of winning a few games, if not more, and having a good run in at least one event. So it's time I started bucking up my ideas a bit. So, in terms of results. So I am excited, Sian, to be fair.
Because it looks like that.
Cheering you on.
It looks like the second half of the year is going to absolutely stacked, isn't it, with events. So if you do get into some good form, hopefully that momentum will sort of spiral then, isn't it?
Yeah, especially I don't know what the crack is with the Europeans, but they've announced free tournaments, and that's where the big money is.
Yeah.
Especially if you qualify for them. But I don't know the limit on the Players' Championship, if they're going to do just 30, because this will be up to 20 now, wouldn't it? And 24 would be the match play. So I don't know if they do another 6 in September, maybe ready for Dublin. If they have it in Dublin, I'm sure they will. And the Grand Prix. But it's potentially, if everything's all right, Europe isn't in as good a state in terms of vaccinations as we are, but hopefully I didn't play a European tour last year. I'd be buzzing to qualify for one. I kept losing 6-5 in the qualifiers. So hopefully, get into that August form as I did in 2019 and start regularly having good results. And it could be safe before the World Championships in terms of my tour card, but I'm optimistic I can do really well. So we just have to see.
Oh, no, that's brilliant. Thank you, Nick. Really, really appreciate you coming on and giving up your time. And, from us too, and Abby as well, just wish you all the best for the rest of the year. And hopefully we can see you retain your card and hopefully make the Worlds again at the end of the year.
Well, thanks both. Really enjoyed it. Glad to speak. So thanks for your wishes. No problem.